Been seeing a lot of this in the media, and it's interesting. Let's get into it.
And so it was circa 2011 or so when some people from the CIA and an aerospace company came to me to ask me for their help on the analysis of some individuals who had encountered some anomalous objects, they said. And I mean, they came to my office unannounced and then started laying out pictures and data on the table in front of me. And I honestly thought it was a joke. I thought it was.
Wait, so you're a Stanford professor, an immunologist doing medical research and building companies, and all of a sudden one day the CIA shows up at your office?
At first I thought it was a joke. I mean, I really thought that somebody was about to put me on candid camera and make a joke of it. But as they started showing me the data, and they were deadly serious, I mean, I tried to lure them into making a joke about it. They were deadly serious about it because they had basically said at that point, people have died. And then they showed me some brain images of individuals who had been damaged, and internal scarring you could see through MRIs. And, it's data. It's unmistakable. You have to say, okay, well, what did that? I can conjecture or hypothesize about, is it the Russians? Is it UFOs or whatever? But the fact is, there is data that says something is happening, and so we need to study it. And that's what a scientist should do.
Okay, so I just thought that was interesting because she's just saying it's data that's showing something is happening, and this has been a consistent theme, for a good minute, but it's been so heavy over the last couple of months, so.
Of course, absolutely. But so for some context, who were these people who had been injured?
They were military personnel, intelligence agents on the ground, a pilot, a few pilots actually, who had gotten close enough and they had some sort of effects.
Gotten close enough to some sort of unknown
object. Some sort of object. One of them on the ground as well, walked right up to it and touched it. And actually his case is pretty famous, and even Senator McCain was able to come in and help this individual because the Army was denying him, the Army or the Air Force, was denying him medical benefits. And so eventually it reached the office of Senator McCain, and he stepped in and forced the Veterans Affairs.
He walked up and touched it? Can you back up and just tell what was the story there?
That was the so-called Rendlesham Forest case in England, where objects were seen over the bunkers where the nuclear weapons were stored. We had noticed damage in the brain, white matter disease it's called. If you know anybody, for instance, who's had multiple sclerosis, and you look at an image of their brain, you'll see these white matter objects. You can see it there. Those white tracts there are just damage to the brain, right? Those are dead areas of the brain. And so if you have that dead area of the brain, whatever that function might have been is now gone. And that was what essentially convinced me. But what I asked for of these people, I said, look, I'm not just going to believe you because you showed me images of these people. I want to meet the people. And so I was taken to meet the people and interview them. And I took their blood for later analysis.
And did they describe the encounters that they had?
Yeah, they did.
So without identifying them, what kinds of encounters did they have?
Objects on the ground that were, glowing or, moving too fast, or they were there and they got too close to it and then it just disappeared. And then afterwards they get these radiation burns. Very often, some of them have been basically on the skin. You see this sclerosis of the skin, reddening, inflammation of the skin. And this is sort of a side study, which I'm working on with a group at Harvard, is we noticed that an area of the brain, the caudate putamen, in many of these individuals was overdeveloped. We figured out that this is an area where intuition happens, and a lot of these individuals who we had let's call them high functioning. Just the side benefit of studying this allowed us to come up with a medical understanding of where cognition is happening in the brain, and we're following up with that in a mainstream science way with a neurophysiology group at Harvard. And we've validated the original findings. But that was it's sort of an example of, because we paid attention to anomalous data. We found an anomaly that really had nothing to do with the injury in the first place, but it told us something about what makes people intuitive and smart. And so it was circa 2011 or so.
Okay, so yeah, I know that was a little bit odd, a little bit different, but basically, they are letting you know that it's becoming more and more frequent. You know, again, this is on Fox with Tucker Carlson or whatever his name is. Yeah. So when it start going mainstream like that, they setting it up. And I had just seen another report where they were saying something about could aliens be among us or something. I had seen that. I gotta find it. But yeah. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. And I will catch y'all on the next one.